How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Bitcoin just got rejected, and yeah, it looks kind of interesting what just happened. We'll be going through that. We also have some countries now that are using Bitcoin for payment. We have some countries that are launching some mutual funds for Bitcoin. They haven't been able to yet, but now they're launching them in about 5 days. We also have BlackRock selling the most Bitcoin that they've ever sold in one day. We'll be talking about that, and I'll address some of the things that people have been annoyed with me for saying when I say BlackRock's been selling or BlackRock's been buying. We'll talk about all that, and yeah, I'll also be talking about why I'm buying some Bitcoin here today. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this one. Also, if you want to trade crypto, check out Blofin. I really like this platform. You can see I have some positions that have been open for a long time. They're severely in the green here. But you can also see that we run constant promotions on here to get you free crypto. Last time it was some XRP and some Bitcoin giveaway. I'll have them reload with a new giveaway. You just need to trade on the platform, trade some futures, and then you can get in on that. But the real key is you want to be able to leverage trade properly, because you can make significant amounts of money if you're good at leverage trading. Of course, there is risk, so make sure you understand the risks. But use the link underneath the video and you can get set up today. Now, as you can see, Bitcoin was using this line, this upward trend line, as support several times. Boom, boom, boom. And then we broke through it. Came down to about 92,000 and then went back up. Looked like we were trying to break back through and got rejected almost perfectly. Like, I didn't even look at this line over the last 2 days because it was the holidays. And then I come back and it got right up to this point and then got rejected back down. We're at 95.5 with a pretty healthy red candle. We were right at 100,000 and went right back down. So, we will have to fight to get back over 100. Of course, any big buyer or big piece of news could send us up pretty significantly, but a little bit more trending sideways is probably good for the market because we were overheated or we were running hot. Now, as we chop sideways, we consolidate, RSI comes down, we look less overbought, and then eventually when we make a move up, it's more sustainable. You can see on total too, we're at a pretty interesting level as well. We got rejected around 1.27 trillion the last 2 times. This recent time though, we broke through it, went all the way up to 1.65, just short, a little bit short of previous cycles high for altcoins. Came down, it looked like we were bouncing right off this previous resistance, but now we're having a little bit of a red candle, so we'll have to continue watching this. There is some good news and some bad news today. Just a few days ago, I announced that Russia announces a 6-year ban on cryptocurrency mining in 10 regions. And we talked about why that might be. It seemed kind of odd because Putin was just talking about how no one can stop Bitcoin, no one can stop crypto. But this came out a few days later, which is interesting. And I said, there are several different reasons for this. But then this came out as well. Russia says it's using Bitcoin for international payments. So just know it's kind of messy, right? There's a little bit of uncertainty with what Russia's doing, but they have seemed to embrace Bitcoin. I mean, just the fact that Putin said that no one can stop crypto and Bitcoin is a positive thing. That is important. That's a seismic shift from them being very anti-crypto. And apparently, this just came out too, the finance minister said it's possible to use Bitcoins, which we have mined here in Russia. Such transactions are already occurring. We believe they should be expanded and developed further. I'm confident that this will happen next year. So saying that they could increase Bitcoin use in 2025. Again, they seem pretty positive, but there are reasons, there are regions apparently where they're limiting mining or banning it. Maybe it's really a problem with their grid and just their power there. Who knows? But yeah, kind of interesting coming out there. A couple days ago, Tuesday, when the market was open, BlackRock actually sold $189 million worth of Bitcoin. This is the biggest sell-off ever. Now, I mentioned recently that BlackRock had a day where they sold Bitcoin and people got pissed in the comments saying they didn't sell Bitcoin. Yes, it is clients selling Bitcoin most likely. Of course, BlackRock does hold some of their own Bitcoin ETFs within other ETFs, but it's most likely their client selling. I just use this as shorthand. They're buying or they're selling because it's easier than explaining every single time that it's their clients that are buying or their clients that are selling. And they do seem to have they do seem to have some power over their clients. Like, how many days have we seen 0 outflows and 0 inflows? There have been a ton of days where that has happened. Like, I think all these non-red and non-green spots here are just 0 days, which, like, what are the chances that they're exactly 0 when you're normally doing $300 million a day in volume and inflows? Like, that you have exactly $0 days for a week straight? Very unlikely. So, you know, it does seem like they have some power over their clients, telling them to buy or to sell or something like that. But yes, we did have a large outflow day. I don't think this is any concern. We've seen times where they had $0 days or red days. Like, look back here, and I think this is October, November, right before the elections, a couple red days. These were pretty big red days for BlackRock too. And then all of a sudden we had the largest inflows that we've ever seen. So this is something that can happen, especially at the end of the year. People are trying to rebalance, maybe take profits. So this isn't really a concern to me by any means. Israel is launching 6 Bitcoin mutual funds on December 31st for Israeli investors. Another country getting into Bitcoin. It's probably nothing, right? Like, there are more and more entities and more countries and more RIAs, investment advisors, that are buying Bitcoin or approving Bitcoin all the time. It does seem like we're going to get more nation-state adoption here in the next few months as well. More state adoption as well. I think there are 10 different states that want to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. I think this is bound to continue to happen. And that brings me to my last point here. I am buying some Bitcoin here today, and it's actually not for me. My son got some money for Christmas. There's a individual in our family that gives out money, and he got some money. So what I'm doing, I opened up an account for him today. I'm going to be buying some IBIT. I'm going to be buying some MicroStrategy, some Tesla, maybe a little bit of Amazon too. I feel like Amazon's at a good price right now, but I'm buying here today because while there is some uncertainty, the fact is, if you have a long enough time span, long enough time horizon for investing, which he does, he has decades before he probably will even care about it, then you can buy these assets and not worry about the price. You don't have to worry about buying at 95,000 versus 90,000 versus 80,000. The fact is, you just want a dollar cost average over time. So this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be dollar cost averaging for him over time. And I saw some people do it because I made a video talk about how I was doing this for a different family member, another youngin in our family. And some people said, well, don't spoil him. The fact is, we're going to be teaching good money principles, saving and investing, part of your paycheck, a part of your birthday money, that kind of stuff. And then also they get other stuff. But yeah, I think it's important to set your kids up in a way that they can, not be quite as stressed. They can have good opportunities. They can have life experiences without spoiling them. So I think Bitcoin is a great way of doing that. I mean, if Michael Saylor's right, $13 million per Bitcoin, and you dollar cost average $50 a year or $100 a year for your kids over the next 20 years, they're probably going to have more Bitcoin than most people on Earth, which is kind of crazy to think about, but most people will not be able to afford it. I mean, a $13 million Bitcoin, that's 130x from here. So $100 is the equivalent of $13,000 at that point. So yeah, it'll be hard for a lot of people to catch up, even to babies that put a little bit in a custodial account or buy a tiny fraction of a Bitcoin. It'll be hard for most people to catch up. Now, of course, that's a very bullish scenario. I'm also buying some other stocks I think will do well and diversifying. And of course, you could buy straight Bitcoin, but then you do have fees. You have cost to set up the wallet with such a small amount. And also, you don't know what the kids will be like in 20 years, if they'll be able to handle the responsibility too. So I'm going to be buying some IBIT instead, supporting the BlackRock empire, and hopefully flipping them bullish for the day, flipping them in the green. I also don't think this is just applicable to your children if you don't have children, but let's say you're in your 20s and maybe you have $50,000, $20,000. I don't think it makes a ton of sense to try to time the market, like be worried about when you're buying Bitcoin and be worried about taking profits from Bitcoin and that kind of thing. Sure, maybe with altcoins you do that, you play the game. But if you're just self-reflecting, right? You're reflecting and realizing I'm probably not going to retire for the next 10 years. Like maybe I make a decent amount, but if you don't have a couple $1 million, it's really hard to like retire. So if you're sitting there thinking I have 10 years, 20 years, 30 years before I'm going to retire, this might be a decent time for you to dollar cost average too. And maybe we fall down. But if you bought at any time in the past, besides the last, 3 weeks, you're up. So if you are looking at the next 10, 20 years, it probably makes sense just to dump money into the assets that you like instead of trying to time them perfectly. Of course, there will be drawdowns, right? Like Tesla. Tesla is a great company, but it was overvalued back in 2021, I want to say, or went up really quickly. And it was down for 3 years straight. So you can be down on an asset for a long time, just like Bitcoin. If you bought it at the wrong time, you could be down for years. So that's why I say dollar cost average is probably the way to go. And yeah, maybe it makes sense for you to just dollar cost average instead of trying to figure out how to get in and out of the market. You figure out how to make a little bit more money or save a little bit more money and then funnel more into Bitcoin. Because I guarantee you, if we're right on Bitcoin, you will not be mad that you bought at $100,000 in 10 years, in 20 years. Now, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to trade crypto, I love trading crypto, especially in bull runs. You can check out the link to Blofin underneath the video. I really appreciate it. We'll talk soon.